He opened on Broadway and the subject was roses in 1964. Sheen, then 24, waited in his dressing room after curtain. His father came backstage and entered, hesitantly, clearly moved by his son's performance, yet unable to make eye contact. He stared at the floor and managed to mumble that his son indeed had talent, and that he now understood what the boy had been trying to tell him all along. The night was more of a revelation for me than it was for either of these world-famous figures. I had been working with celebrities for 30 years, first as a publicist, then as a reporter, but always as a fan. What I took home from this evening was an understanding of the many levels of fame and the conflicts that rage within the heart and soul of those who dwell in the public eye. Neither Sheen nor DeLuise chose his profession desiring celebrity. Both just wanted to act, and because of talent, luck, and timing, both became famous. How each used his notoriety, Sheen to effect social change, and Dom to lift the spirits of countless people, is a testament to their character that is seldom seen by outsiders. Too many people confuse fame with leadership. Leadership has a purpose. Fame does not. I was famous for a split second in the late 1970s when I was a regular on a Group W TV series called Evening Magazine. A franchise version of it was known as PM Magazine. After 2 or 3 months on the air, I began to be recognized in public. For some reason, this happened mostly in Chinese restaurants. But it was an odd kind of recognition. Even though my name was spoken and superimposed every time I appeared, people who stopped me on the street only knew me as the guy on that TV show. This taught me an important lesson. Television is a medium that conveys impressions well and facts less well. If you think I'm wrong, name 2 stories and their reporters from the last newscast you watched. Fame was awkward. I'm not shy, but it's strange to have complete strangers come up and recognize you. Even before social media made stalking a sport, it was creepy. For 4 years, I covered entertainment and public affairs for WEI-FM, the CBS radio station in Boston, and time and again, I'd be chatting with someone at a party when suddenly he or she would recognize my voice, and I could see his or her face change expression, signaling recognition, and with it an end to our substantive conversation. Where I believed that reporters should cover a story and not be the story, I grew increasingly uncomfortable with even my limited level of notoriety. I began to wonder what sort of person actually wanted to be famous, and I began to marvel at the way extraordinarily famous people dealt with it. It took years before I saw the best of the best in action. It was after a play opening in Los Angeles. I was backstage with the friend who had brought me there and was talking to one of the actors. My friend elbowed me to meet the people she was talking to. I ignored her as long as I could and then spun around, prepared to ask her why she was being so rude. Instead, she asked me matter-of-factly, "Nat, you know Brad and Angelina, don't you?" Yes, it was Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, 2 of the most exquisitely beautiful, not to mention famous, people on the planet. We shook hands and proceeded to chat about world hunger and the importance of getting help to sub-Saharan Africa. Silently, 10 feet to one side, someone quietly pulled out a smartphone and aimed it at the famous pair. You don't do this backstage. Backstage is off the record. Pitt instantly noticed this breach. But instead of making a scene, he looked directly at the interloper and gently shook his head while mouthing, "No." Then he continued our conversation, disarming the would-be paparazzo without making either a fuss or an enemy. That is stardom. Fame, like Pringles, is artificial. Unlike Pringles, it has no preservatives. Fame carries with it the illusion of achievement. If it's the Pope, the achievement is self-evident. If it's a Kardashian, it's non-existent. This is what makes a celebrity. Indeed, the definition of a celebrity is somebody who's famous for being famous, not for having done anything in particular. This book is not about them. Allow me to establish a personal baseline. I was born in Washington, D.C., where fame and power are local crops that are harvested every election, but they don't travel well. I moved to Boston for college in the turbulent late 1960s, and I lived there off and on for the next 2 decades, moving to Los Angeles in 1993. For 5 years in Boston and New York, I was a movie publicist, and then in Boston a reporter covering the film industry as a business. The stories in these pages happened when I was first one and then the other. I was never both at the same time. While in college, I haunted the local sales offices of the Hollywood studios, hoping to make contacts that would pull me to California. This was a time of great uncertainty for them. The old